business career. So road mapping that for them, creating that vision of how you get from A to B across a transaction threshold is really what we're all about. How that often business owners in the lower mid-market that we address, they may have a basic plan, but they typically don't have a strategic plan. But moving that visioning into action, for example, putting a strategic plan together, and that strategic plan being a written document, which then proves the steps that business will go through over a 3 to 5 year period. All of these planning tools that you've heard about, and maybe not necessarily pushed into your organization, are fundamental to the visioning of how you're going to get across the line, particularly in the exit planning world. So I'll stop there. But there's lots of techniques on the communications side as well, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. So now going on to Brian here, I think you have had a massive growth and strong culture. So how have you been able to create a vision in certain small number of years, and that led to massive growth and strong culture? Could you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you. The idea is that the vision for the organization has to be so massive that everybody else's vision in the organization can fit inside of that vision. So the overall vision of it isn't just like a ultimate goal. It's not we're striving for something in particular. It's like creating more of a movement than it is achieving a goal. And so if that is so, like with our organization, we've been able to duplicate or get to a place to duplicate this model and put it in places across the country. So that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to expand it in that way. And so to be able to do that, everybody has to be bought into the bigger vision. And for them to have enough buy-in for it, they have to be able to see themselves and their own personal vision for it within that larger vision. So if somebody's going to be investing a large amount of their life and their time and their effort into something and into an organization, the buy-in has to be big enough that the trade-off is that that's what they're on board with too. Because if somebody's just trading time for money to show up, they're going to be operating at 40 to 60%. They're not going to be giving full effort, and they're going to be looking for the next opportunity to leave. And as soon as they get that opportunity, they're out, and then you're going to be replacing that person anyway, and that's what leads to high turnover. So as soon as somebody can see themselves and what they want for their life and be part of the overall mission and the buy-in for what the mission of the organization is, then it's easy to get everybody on board and build that culture where everybody's working towards the same thing. But to be able to do that requires relationships with your team. Like you have to be able to, like brought a team here today, and like we do things like that where it's bringing everybody together to be part of the building process.
Thank you very much. That was a great point. So Tyler, going to you, I know you talked about addictions and many other things. You have seen a lot of resistance and failures. I know you talk very passionately about it. So tell us how somebody should create a vision when they're experiencing so many resistance and so much failures.
To me, I look at resistance. I mean, I went through, when I started off, I didn't have a vision at all. I was a massage therapist, dirt broke, literally charging like $15 to drive to someone's house and work on them. My dad was a clinical kinesiologist and always working, but sacrificing his relationships for work. And I saw this vision of helping people, yet the actual application was sacrificing marriage, sacrificing health. And part of me thought, there has to be a way to get the resistance to become part of the vision so that you don't have to lose everything to get your goal. And I became really obsessed with that. I watched so many, went through depression, suicidal tendencies, porn addictions. And through those, I found that the more resistance that you have towards a goal or towards a vision, that actually validates the power of your vision. If you do not have resistance, then you will not grow. And to me, the whole point of creating something is to grow. And if you can find that resistance and embrace it, utilize it. Don't run from it, don't hide it, don't feel shamed about it, but understand that the resistance is the way. It shows you the path of how to 10x anything that you are focused on. So utilizing that resistance, not as a pain point or something that you hide from, but to completely embrace it unashamedly and say, because I have this vision, I'm going to take every single step of the way to create what I want.
And I think you mentioned about resistance is roadmap to success. That
Absolutely.
kind of resonated.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So Sam, I guess you have done multiple types of roles, as I understand, and you mentioned about how do we stay true to our vision, but there is so much change happening in the world. Right?
Yeah,
So-
that's a great question. Thank you. For me, vision, it's like what Brian said, it's a broader thing, you know. It comes from our why. Why is it that we're doing what we're doing? If we don't truly have a passion for it, it's frankly just a waste of time, not just for you, but for everybody around you that you're getting involved as well. And I sometimes find it that folks mix what a vision is and what a mission is. Mission are those steps to accomplish the vision, and vision is so broad and wide that when you put it in front of people, it can trigger resistance. It can trigger feelings that they think this is not something we can accomplish. Imagine when, as humans, we decided we want to go to the moon. I don't think the mission or the vision was going to the moon. The vision was that space exploration. And part of that mission became going to the moon. So that's how I look at the wilder, the broader, the crazier, the more it scares you, I say, the better that vision actually is. Think about it. When people go on vision, you hear about stories, somebody went on a vision quest, right? When they come back from that, when you hear from them, what do you think? Sometimes it comes across, they don't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, that's what I've learned, you know. So you want that vision to be really broad. You want it to scare you, actually, more than anything. And then figuring out those steps of how to get to what you want to accomplish, and that's how the mission is put together. And you got to be flexible with that mission because of changing times. Technology changes, environment changes, so we got to be flexible to that in order to be able to accomplish our vision. So that's what I would say. And gosh, I've done this in the government world, in the nonprofit world, and in government it's really interesting when you put a vision in front of a community and wait to see the resistance then. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. So the next question from me, I guess, was turning this vision into the measurable results. We do help companies with 10 to 30% revenue increment in 3 months with our sales training. So how do I convert that vision into the measurable results? So basically, we always make sure that whatever work we are doing, keeping our vision into the picture. For example, if we are having sales strategy, now this is getting into more tactics, right? That when we are having the sales strategy, we want to make sure that are we actually going true to our vision? Our vision, I guess I am also refining that a lot more. It's changing and adapting. But my vision here is to actually maybe mix of vision and mission, but helping small businesses with growing their revenues 10 to 30% in 3 months, at least 500 plus people. Again, this may be a mix of that, but that is what we are trying to achieve, so the whole team actually aligns with that, right? Making sure we are all motivated, excited, because they do go through quite a lot of struggles. And that revenue, that scaling, it is critical for them to survive, thrive, and be able to scale. So that's our goal. The other thing that we do is in terms of making sure it's at tactical levels too. We do keep vision in picture. We also talk about the unique value proposition. So when you're crafting a vision, you want to make sure that your unique value proposition is also coming into the play. What is my unique value proposition is that we are, for example, are providing measurable results. Until you achieve those results, we don't think you're alone. We are making sure that is happening. So the vision should craft that, but also your tactical aspects should always be looking into the vision, and basically we are executing those strategies, not just leaving it as a vision, but people are moved towards it, looking into it, etc. So with this, are there any questions from the audience? Maybe we can take a few. Yeah, sure. Want to go there so everybody can hear it. Thank you.
Is there a switch on the bottom or on the side? Here comes the help.
Hello.
Yeah.
How do you manage what I think is the inevitability of the changing vision while you are on your way? Do you communicate that? How do you keep your people moving toward, that big hairy vision, but it's actually shifting?
Yeah. I think that's probably a question for you, Sam.
Let me ask you a question. Is that shifting the mission or the vision itself? Has the vision changed? Give me an example on that, please.
I can't give you a concrete example, but I will say that with the introduction of AI, for example, a lot of visions and how we have to get there will shift. Some of the people that were involved in visions aren't going to be there anymore because of AI that's come in along the way. So you're inspiring this group of people to move toward that big vision, and it shifts. Keep everybody engaged.
I think you said it right there. How do you then continue to inspire that group that has decided to be part of your team to work with you towards that vision? If that inspiration gets lost, I think that's when the vision is lost. So continuing to work on that common ground that we all have, what we can all agree on, and how you as a leader can inspire that group, because like you said it, I agree with you. AI is going to come. You go ask AI, create this vision for me. Does it in 2 seconds for you. But does it have a why attached to it? After it, it's the most important thing. And it's you that's going to inspire the people that are around you to work with you towards that vision. So AI can't take it over. Because I do think we do have that human connection that AI still doesn't have. So we do have that advantage over that. So again, I always go back to, why is it that you're doing it in the first place? Because if you're confused about your why you're doing it, I think or if I was the one that was confused about my why, I don't think I can inspire anybody around me to listen to me, to be part of the team to accomplish the vision. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question? We can probably take one more. Okay. Thank you very much. So moving on to the next question here. Steve, I guess this is for you. Can you give me a specific example where visioning is fundamental? I know we were talking about, I don't want to give specific example from my state, but visioning is fundamental to achieving like a big, hairy goal, audacious goal. What communication strategies have you employed? I know you have worked on really big strategies, so could you give us some example?
Yeah, there's 2 questions there, so I'll pick up on your point. I'll give you an example in my world. For the last year or so, I've been involved with a genomics vision in Canada. This is an investment that's been going on for 25 years. In our organization, we've invested $1.5 billion, and ultimately the vision was to take genomics innovation out of the universities and the research institutions and so on, and ultimately bring that innovation to market. that would be the vision. The mission along the way has changed because the human genome was catalogued along the way. In the first 15 years, we discovered that our bodies were comprised of 25,000 genes, and each of them were different depending on the individual. That first 15 years was directed towards healthcare, but the innovation has now broadened into plants and agriculture and food, and also into animals and the cataloging of those things. So interestingly, AI is accelerating the rate of innovation in that world, because if you're dealing with data sets 25,000, 100,000 and so on, and then trying to compare them with another data set of a similar size, you need tools to be able to do that. So bringing that technology into the world is helping to not only reduce costs. It costs $3 billion to catalog the first human genome. It costs $1,500 now for any individual. So the cost of that development has reduced massively, but the application of it is much more specific now in helping surgeons to create pathways to treatment in a much more efficient way because of technology. So your example of AI and how it changes the mission along the way has not changed the fact that we're trying to bring innovation to the market, commercialize it, and grow economies in the US and all around the world in a big way. So just the second part to that is, how do we communicate these things to our staff? Well, there's a multitude of ways that we do that. Many of them traditional. We can communicate at conferences like this. We can organize board meetings. We can organize staff meetings to do these things. We can use social media to evangelize. How we can use annual reports, for example. We can use plans and strategic plans and so on. So there are many ways that we can communicate a vision and to drill down and make it real for the people that are going to action those plans, which is really important.
Thank you very much, Steve. And going to Brian here, I guess how has our vision for your organization beneficially impacted the client demographic that you are specifically working with?
Yeah, so thank you. In the same way that the staff has to be bought into the vision, it has to have that trickle-down effect to the clients. And so I guess I can give you the example of, like, somebody would get out of prison, they come to us, we set them up with a peer recovery coach, we scholarship them into sober living house, but they've got, say, 3 or 4 days of sobriety, maybe 30 days of sobriety, and they have rebuilt nothing yet. They don't have a job, they don't have connections to people, they don't have any life skills and all of these things. Well, they come to our events and get involved with 100 people that are already doing those type of things. And then we communicate to them, like, hey, here's the reason why we're doing this. We're doing this so that people like you in your situation can have the same access to the services that we're providing, and you don't have to repeat the cycle again. So we get them to see that, and then we say that your success is important to the benefit of everything that we're doing. We need you to be successful, so your success is you're already contributing to doing that by being here and being part of this. So when everybody else is telling them, like, hey, you're not worth anything, you have a rap sheet of felonies, you have addiction problems, you have all of these things, all of the stigma things, and then we're saying, no, you're actually valuable in this environment because here's the vision, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take your story and we're going to put it on stages like this, and we're going to show people in other states and other countries and around all these places that this is possible. And we do that then by setting them up with a recovery coach who's already done it. And so now they're like, oh, I've never even known somebody that's, they're coming from family cycles that have been histories and generations of prison and drug addiction and all these things. They've never had exposure to it. So we give somebody the exposure to it, and then they're like, oh, my recovery coach was also in prison, and now my recovery coach has a house and a car and a family and all of the things, and they have the exposure to it. Now it's real. And now they're like, I can now see myself in the vision of what my coach is trying to portray to me, and that they can't see necessarily. I'm not expecting them to see the bigger vision, but like, and in response to that, it's like the vision has to be big enough that it includes the shifts.
Right.
Like there isn't any shift. Like who knows what's going to happen with Medicaid? We work with all Medicaid clients. Who knows what's going to happen with federal funding? We rely heavily on federal funding. Don't know. Doesn't matter. The shift is within the vision of what we're doing. That the vision is bigger than any shift that's going to happen. So we don't have to change that. We can change the vehicle and the mission and how we get there, but it doesn't change the course of the vision on everybody buying into the ultimate vision.
That's a great point. Thank you, Brent. Just with this, I'm going to ask the audience here, how many of these companies, yeah, I was going to ask you first, but
We can get a round of applause here.
yeah. I'm going to go to the audience here. Does your company have a vision statement? How many of you? Yes? I'm looking at hands here. How many of you have the vision? Okay, it seems like 1/3 of you. And how many of your companies trying to grow? Do you have a mission statement? Do we know what's the difference between vision and mission? I'm not going to go there, but I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, so it seems like 1/3 or 1/4 of the people here have the vision statement created. Yeah, and sorry, going back to that question about your companies are trying to grow. Can somebody raise hand? We have majority of the people are trying to grow the company.
Yeah.
You're trying to grow the company? Okay, all right. Yeah, definitely recommend having a vision because that gives everybody the motivation, coming together, aligning together. I think, Brian, you had talked about the massive growth, how you brought all that growth together by having the vision because everybody will feel motivated to do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about how their tactical strategies apply. So now we're going to Tyler, sorry about that. Yeah, you talk a lot about the resistance. I believe you have written a book as well on that. So I guess why is it that so many people struggle to overcome that resistance in creating a vision, and what's the fastest way to overcome it?
So everything about vision is about attaining something that is not here yet. And so if you do not have resistance to it, it's not big enough, right? And one of the things that has really helped me grow my company and help, I work with 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs that are doing some crazy cool stuff on the planet. And no matter who I work with, there's a common theme. And the common theme is that they have a story bigger than where they are right now. And one of the key things is to know that resistance and that struggle is there to guide you, to inspire you, and to influence you to change. If you don't change, your vision will not happen. And we know this, but most of us give in to our old nature. We give in to our procrastination, our old way of thinking that we can't 10x, that it's got to be super difficult, or that because I made my first million, the next million is going to be just as hard, or whatever it might be. And to see, just because something has been, if you want to get out of that, you have to create a vision of how it's going to be different. And that's what I see, and the most powerful thing is that it's not just a mindset piece. A lot of people think, hey, I just need to work on my mindset, But over my years of studying, I found that it's actually fight-flight responses stored in the body. And so what does that mean? It means if I set a vision, you're going to have a physiological response in opposition towards that vision, which is why not everybody gets their vision. Very few people actually get where they want to go. So the difference between someone who gets where they want to go is that they completely change their identity, who they are. so that they resonate with that vision, and they think, they act, and they do things in a completely different way that is on par with that vision. So the one thing that I love to, and this is what my superpower is showing people that in your body, and actually your organs and your glands, you have cellular memory that can resist your vision. And it'll actually cause health symptoms to come up, self-sabotage, addictive behaviors. And when you know how to shift that, which there's techniques and processes that you can literally do it in minutes, you can alter who you are and how you show up so that you can start taking action and creating your vision instead of going in circles and spending years self-sabotaging. So just learn, get educated first, that it doesn't have to be hard. Just because something was doesn't mean it has to continue that way. And as soon as you create a vision that it could be easy, it could take minutes instead of years, all of a sudden, it gives you an incentive to do something completely different that will change the entire view of where you go and how you get there.
Thank you very much. And going to Sam here, we have talked about vision, and some of the people, I guess majority of the people have not crafted a vision. Can you give us some elements about how to craft a vision? Like what are the elements for a strong vision?
It should scare you, like I said earlier. If it doesn't scare you, you're not thinking broad enough. You know, I think that goes back to what you were saying. If you don't find that resistance, you're not going beyond what you need to really craft a good vision right there. So, to me, I know it's just one word and it's simple, but it should scare you. It should get you out of your comfort zone. If it keeps you in your comfort zone, I don't think your vision is big enough.
That's great. So bold and audacious.
And it should scare you more than the other people that you tell, actually.
Should we be telling everybody about our vision? That's another question I get from people.
Absolutely.
I have a
think so.
vision in mind, I have a goal in mind. I don't know if I should be telling that because it's too bold. I don't know if I can achieve it. Those are some of the comments I hear too.
I would, but you know, every person is different, you know.
Right.
I absolutely would, because if I don't share my vision, how am I going to get the people to be able to even inspire them to help me out to achieve that vision? So I would share it.
I could give one example from my business on the tension and the reframing in order to, and as a business owner who is close to retirement, if you want to walk away with a retirement check from your business, in other words, if you want to sell what you built for most of your life, what we say to our clients is we're looking for a reframing of your thinking as a business owner. So, you know, up until now, the world has told you that you need to grow your business and you need to make money and make a surplus from the point of view of profit, which is absolutely true. But there's another dimension to the value of your company, which is the quality of the assets that you built, how they're put together, the types of tools that you use, and so on. And that drives a multiple in the eyes of a professional investor. So what we're looking for is a mindset change away in the last 3 to 5 years of your business, away from just driving profitability. We want you to keep making profits, but you also need to have a mindset change, which is, how do I make sure that my business is sustainable into the future, that in the hands of a third party, it's going to continue on making those profits and being able to grow and so on. So that is a value pivot that business owners need to make. So it's speaking to that tension. It's tough to do it. It's tough to do it, but if you can kind of if you can make that pivot at the back end of your business life, it's valuable to what you can walk away with in retirement.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that I find is it's good to have a vision and a mission, but the most important thing to me is a story. And the story combines it all, and it's an evolving piece. And a simple technique to do, and this is something that I teach, is that if you create a story in detail, not just about the outcome, like here's the check-offs, okay, I made a lot of money, X, Y, Z, but share your story and create it, actually like write it down, of here's who I am going to be as if it's already happened a year, 5 years, and 10 years out. And write out your story more focused on how you overcome the resistance in attaining the goals, because that's focused on becoming this, not just doing this. And like you were saying, it's not sustainable, and I think we're pivoting away from this of just, let's get profitable, let's make a lot of money, but then you're burnt out, you're frustrated, you lost your marriage 7 times. And it's not success. Like what true success is having time freedom, money freedom, and having the health to enjoy it, and great relationships. And so incorporating a story to embody your vision and your mission, to reiterate that daily to yourself until it becomes part of your identity, and working through all the resistance to that, it becomes such a powerful asset so that you don't have to just remember a document word by word and say, oh yeah, here's my mission statement that I repeat every day, but who am I becoming? And if your whole team follows that philosophy, every single person has a cool story of who they're becoming and what they want as part of the mission and the vision. I don't know if that actually answers your question at all, but it's like, I think that's the doingness of how to make it happen.
No, that's great. I need storytelling with data.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So if we don't have story,
How long we got? How long we got? What time do we finish?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good time. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. I think the three key elements, you were saying something?
Go ahead.
Yes, so what I'm hearing here is that definitely the authenticity and the purpose driven, right? Why do we exist, right? And what impact do we want to make with our companies? So that's one aspect of vision that we definitely want to make sure that's covered, right? And the second is also inclusive and collaborative. Brian, I think you were mentioning about having everybody's vision in my company. So that is very critical as well. Everybody in your company should believe in that vision. If they don't, the company is not going to be successful, right? So that's another part. And the third is the sustainable and the future thinking. A great vision should always look at what is the forward thinking approach for me. It shouldn't be changing a lot, but it's more about your why. Why am I doing what am I doing? And I will explain and give a little bit context about why am I behind helping small businesses with their revenues. And you may say that yes, companies are going after money. That is not the case at all. 50% of the small companies, they close within first 5 years. And I don't know what's the number for the first 2 years, but it's a very big number. And I see that a lot of companies come to me at least 8 times saying, Vibha, can I get help for the coaching? And then ultimately, some companies have come to me, we have closed the business. So, revenue, profits, it is critical for them to survive, to thrive. That's why I made that as my vision. Because I was a small kid too, when I did not know whether I'm going to have food today or education. Anyway, so yeah, that's the vision here. So the vision should always have some impact, right? Why are you doing what am I doing? My vision is to help small companies. My vision is to make sure that the salespeople be successful so that they can help companies, right? They can help their own family. They can go on vacation. They can have enough food, enough education, enough survival. If they get into addiction, they have money for somebody to help them out. So that's the overall, I guess, crafting a vision. It requires definitely the 3 components. I think that's what I'm hearing from all of you. Authenticity, purpose-driven, inclusive, collaborative, sustainable, and forward-thinking. Your mission will always go into that. Yes, AI will change my sales training probably. But my mission, my vision is still staying the same. turn sales struggles into success. So more companies can be successful, profitable. They don't close. They live happy life. They have good education, etc. So anything else you want to add here on this part? Yeah, you want to add?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Sure.
Probably they made it for me.
I appreciate your comments today, and I resonate with a lot of what you said. I think it might be helpful for the group. I know I would appreciate if you did take a minute and explain the difference between a vision and a mission statement. I know you said you didn't want to, but it would be helpful. I would appreciate
Go
it.
into that. Okay. I think I'm going to ask somebody else to take a
I
tab at
don't
that.
mind. I'll address that. Vision statements are usually very short and to the point. But one sentence, small sentence. Mission statement, it's more detailed to me of how do you accomplish that vision. So that's what I would say the difference between a vision statement and a mission statement is. Vision is quick, sweet, to the point. Mission is more detailed. How do we get to that vision? Does that help? Maybe, maybe not.
And mission can change as well. Yeah, go
What's
ahead.
that? Just do it, you know? Yeah. That's more a tagline, but yeah, you can say that's a vision right there. I'll use my organization as an example. As I mentioned earlier, our vision statement says creating peace through music. That's it. And when I state that to people, I see people tensing up actually sometimes. Usually it's, what the heck are you thinking trying to create peace in the first place in this crazy wild world we live in right now? Right? Imagine saying that, hey, I'm here to create peace. You'll find a lot of resistance right there when you say that to people. But that's how simple our vision statement is. Create peace through music. Well, what does that mean? Then we break it down into our mission statement, which is then to improve and enhance communities through the power of music, through conferences, live events, to raise funds for the 5 causes of peace: education, healthcare, economic development, housing, and nutrition. So that's what I would say. The vision is very short, or a mission statement is more detailed.
Yeah, I mean, one other example could be like what we have is turn sales struggles into success. It's very simple, but the mission says that we are going to train 500 plus people to help them thrive in their company. So that makes sense? So just few words, but it's driving us. Oh, thank you.
Well, then we have to ask you, do you
I
agree with what we
appreciate
said?
that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to add something else, please feel free. Somebody else had raised a hand? Yeah, go ahead.
This is very inspiring and motivational. I don't know when you energy to start finding conversations. So just one question I have for you, and like, is it, like, how much important is it to have a mission statement rather than have a kind of vision? Can we still reach to our end objective if we stay focused on what is it, like, what's having a mission statement? So that is for you. And another part which is also, I think, like vision, all the startups are vision also, but not every startup is a success story. So before coming to conclusion, like for every vision you will be investing time and efforts. Is it worth invest, or there is a thin line like you can stop and take, and if it's cannot convert into or every vision or every thinking is a success story for somebody investing in this, like, but it may not be the same for other vision. So what do you guys recommend, or what do you guys suggest that we should think on other aspects also before turning this into a reality? What is our time and efforts?
So the first question was from me, right, for the vision part. What I have seen is that as I went deeper and deeper into my business, right, as I was seeing many companies coming to me and then ultimately saying that, oh, we are closing the business. Some of the companies worked with me and we are thriving and trying to help them grow their revenues and profits. But I think if I had worked with them on the vision part, it would have changed quite a lot because it moves people, right? Why are they doing what they're doing? If that is important, then it also actually saves you time because everything that I do in my business also, I'm thinking about it. Does it actually solve my vision or not? Is it really actually helping me drive that vision? Or is it taking me away, taking me in different direction? So every decision I'm making in my business also, I'm thinking about my vision and seeing that does it relate, does it align? And when I tell my customers about it, they get motivated as well. Oh, I am going to be one of those 500 people. So it eventually helps because you also get a lot of loyal customers. If you have vision, mission defined before you start, and that may change as you grow and become more mature in the business, right? But there is a lot of, I guess, research and strategic work that needs to be done. In my opinion, it has always helped, and I think it keeps me focused, it keeps my clients focused as to this is a vision. If you're doing anything else that does not contribute to it, let's not worry about that. And when we tell their clients about it, they're like, okay, we need to support that vision. Does that make sense? Okay.
What was the second part of your question?
There was a stacking of the questions.
Yeah.
More people get motivated to build one vision for any startup. I was saying that not all the startups are successful. Okay, so it's a vision for someone. So before turning or working, spending time and efforts on something, is there a way like we can evaluate or in a realistic way, this is not going to work for the future? Maybe it's a success for us. We can see it as a successful project, but for others it's not successful.
So the question is, can you tell if somebody's going to really suck and fail, not to invest in them
No, it's not
before? before.
Is your vision good or not? Is what you're saying.
Based on their vision, is that what you're saying, or?
No, it's not about that. It's about like, for example, if I will think for something as a vision, so I am going to spend time on this product. Maybe it's not worth that efforts or time. But how do we differentiate? What is the thin line in that one? Like, we should invest time and effort or we should not? That is
When I started this in 2020. This was a thing that came out of the early COVID days. And I saw what was happening in the addiction treatment field, what was happening to mental health and suicide rates and all of those things. I spent a lot of time in prayer during that time, and that's when this vision came about. I tried a lot of different ways to not pursue what I'm pursuing. And so to do that, I just doubled down on every single level throughout it. I was all in. There was never, I think that with that question is like, if you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, you're not going to be successful automatically. Like you've already failed. You might as well go do something else if you're not going to fully jump and commit to it. And so that's where it was from the beginning. And we struggled through that whole early process and ran out of money a couple times and continued to double down and continue to. So it's like when the growth has been rapid, it's been because of that. But it was like that time that I spent in prayer and having what I considered the God-given vision of it, what made it so massive that it was like, I don't believe that I can do this. I don't believe that I have the power to do this or to do this by myself because it is so massive, but I'm just going to go. And I'm not going to go halfway. I'm not going to go 70%. I'm going to go 120. And I'm going to go all in this direction and see what happens. And if not, I've lived in my car before, so let's put it on the line. We're in Vegas. Double down.
So, Brian, what I'm hearing, risk is a part of it.
It is, 100%.
That if it's not risky,
Yep. That's it.
You're not doing it right.
There's going to be the pushback. I mean, we've had an insane amount of pushback in the way that we do. A lot of people don't agree with the way that we do treatment. And so it's been
Then
that
you know
way.
you're doing it
Right. If you don't have people that are against it, that are pushing back against it, if you have other resistance, then it's not big enough anyway.
Thank you very much. We just have 2 minutes left, so maybe, is this a quick question?
Yes, one question. It's for Tyler. You had mentioned that when you write down your goals in the present tense, it's if it's already happened. Do you do that? Do you do the same for goals every day? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it at night? Do you do it twice? How do you do it so it really resonates?
Yeah. I'll do the short answer, and if you go to my booth, I'll give you the long answer. But essentially, what I do is I'll write out the story with endpoints in, like, here's the things that I want to accomplish, right? But I know who I am right now, and I'm totally incapable of all these things. So then I write my story as if I've become that, and how I'd handle opposition, how I'd handle the setbacks, and how I move through that to attain that goal. Because certainty and how you move through the resistance is the number one determinant if someone's going to succeed or fail. If they're not certain, they're going to fail. If they're not all in, they're going to fail. If they give in to resistance, they're going to fail. So then writing it out, vocalizing it out loud, you'll feel the resistance because it's a lie, and you're going to fight it. And then if you learn a cool process that I teach, then you can actually move through that resistance in the moment and align your body so you don't fight it anymore. So when people look at a vision, it's not about a positive or a negative vision or words, it's how you react to it. So I could have a really amazing vision, but my body could actually be allergic to that thing. So it's putting me in a fight-flight response. So if you're just vocalizing your vision day in and day out, which is the old way of doing it, you're actually you could cause more of a setback because your body's in a constant fight-flight, which then you'll get overwhelmed, you'll get adrenal fatigue kicking in, like all sorts of stuff that happens because people are just focused on positivity versus reactivity and how to change that.
Do you reverse engineer the story at that point?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's like, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I think we're at the end of the time here. Really appreciate everyone's time here. So just to sum it up, definitely do create your clear and compelling vision because that will drive growth. So that's the ultimate message. Thank you very much again for everyone.
Well done. That's good stuff. That was awesome, man.
worth. And where is Yahoo? Yahoo was sold for Verizon, I think 2017, for less than $300 million. So it's a big missed opportunity. I'll tell you a personal story. And it's funny, I remember it because recently I had my 24th anniversary. In February 21, 2012, I had this amazing person who comes to me and said, I have an amazing company you need to invest in. They need $1 million, you will have 10% of the company. They have amazing technology. At that time, I was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. You know, AI, pharmaceutical, long story, we'll tell you about it later. But anyway, I said, man, I don't have time. It's my anniversary, I want to go have fun. Tell me quickly, what is it about? Told me, yeah, we have innovative things. We'll manipulate DNA, we'll dictate the DNA, we'll program it with messages, we give it to it. It sounds science fiction to me. Okay, I passed. You know, this company was Moderna, and I messed up the opportunity. Let's go to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Samson Mann, I'm a best-selling author. My book is The Singularity of Hope. It's not a business book, it's about AI and our role as a humanity in the future. I have some, if someone is interested, for free later on. I'm also 5-time TEDx speaker, serial entrepreneur. I put the companies that I have founded during the years. So I didn't found it, they purchased my company, okay? Garmin, Labofine, American Testing, Tentamus Group, they purchased my group of labs that I founded. And at that time, the value of Tentamus was 300 million. I worked with them. I became the CEO of Canada and in the beginning West US and then the whole North America. They call it Tentamus Labs of America. And we went from 300 million in value to 1.2 billion. I exited that 2 years ago. Spin off 3 companies, Avenir, it's a real estate, Theosim, AI, Trelexa, is digital marketing services, and I started a group of lab again, cannot help myself. Now we are in 3 continents. But 2 years ago, I decided to go to social media because nobody read books, and I started all kinds of channels. Today I am at around 2 million followers total. These numbers are a little bit from 3 months ago. And I write also in Forbes Technology Council and entrepreneur.com. So, let's go back to opportunities. I told you about my missed opportunities. So I will tell you about a great opportunity. In 2015, we've been looking for a way to increase sales. You know, like anyone else, what we need, more sales, right? And we come across an automation tools that you can send requests, you do things, and at that time, my director of marketing told me, it's dangerous, I don't want to use my name to do that, and scam and spam people. So we came and created a persona. We call her Sarah Romdell. And Sarah Romdell, at that time, we called her automatic profile that can answer questions, okay? So it was AI. It's an AI chatbot, practically, that can go and engage with people. But in 2015, that was not a thing. And because it was not a thing, I think we have been from the early people who did that. We dominated the social media, especially LinkedIn at that time, and we multiplied our sales by 400% in no time. In fact, this is why Tentamus purchased my group. They thought we are so big, we are everywhere. So one of the founders wanted to meet Sarah. Where is Sarah Romdell? I told him, once we finish the acquisition, I will tell you how to communicate with Sarah. Well, we finished, told him. First of all, he was very disappointed, never spoke to me again. But also, he made us generalize it. We created not only Sarah Romdell, army of sales bots. That was 2016. And just sales got up, 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 up. Of course, today it's a different word, by the way. It's a different word. I think 4 out of 5 LinkedIn profile are automated with AI. So we got it very early before it was too crowded. Now we have a new strategy. So, action steps for AI adoption, it should be now, right? And people who are using the old ways, they need to move fast, right? So let me go and directly into the topic. This is my humble opinion. I call them the 5 level of AI adoption, right? And I will start with the basic. I call it the minimal. ChatGPT, right? If you don't have or Claude or Grok, whatever you want, a chatbot with a system in your company to use AI. This is the minimum. If you are not doing this, believe me, you are in danger. Accordingly, I have some internal data that say 90% of people in the professional workplace are already using ChatGPT for their business. So that's the minimum, okay? And of course, for that, you have courses, you have things. We have free resources in our company. You don't need us for that, right? I think it's too easy. I call the second level the integrated level. That means you go, you have a consultant, and then integrate your tools using AI. And there is a lot of videos you can find online how to do that. There is like tools called Make, other called Zapier, and a lot others. I'm not trying to promote them. And this is, I think, is the next level. So here we become, let's call it more serious about AI. The third level, it's what I call the agentic RAG level. And the agentic RAG, that means you have now more interesting things. AI becomes somehow aware of your business, of your information, of your problems. And this level, I think you need help. You cannot do it yourself. You want to do it correctly. Unless, of course, we have AGI and you can tell it, I need that and it will happen. But for the moment, I don't think so. AGI is just a dream. Everybody has used AI, and so the limitation, right? There is limitation. It's not like a miraculous thing. So with agentic RAG, you will have agent and a system that is aware of your stuff, and it's more or less inside an integrated tool. So you don't have like Make, Zapier. No, it will become somehow your tool. The next level, the fourth one, is when you fine-tune the AI for your company, for your needs. And that's become more advantageous, right? It becomes somehow your AI, and you start really getting superior results to others. That's your next step. And then the last step, and by the way, this is like for discussion, you can have it hybrid, you can have some of things run by ChatGPT, others fine-tuned, you know. We are dynamic here. But the last level is to have your own large language model running on your own internal servers or even local servers only for you, right? So myself, and this is only a personal sharing, I'm sharing this with you. This is all the tools I use. I love AI, all kinds of things. From the chatbots, I use them all, in fact, each one for a purpose. For writing, I use a tool called pseudo-write. It helps you write long books. Search engines, I stopped using Google, guys. There is a great tool called Perplexity. And ChatGPT has a search now. I prefer Perplexity, honestly, it's much better. But we are talking here interface, right? Both of them will fill the purpose. Video creation, I use Filmora, Opus Clip to generate shorts, and so on and so on. I have all the list of things. And I said we have our internal tool for sales and marketing. We call it Trelexa.ai. And this is a combination of AI employees with social media management, marketing, CRM, email management. So this is our own tool. So what kind of AI you need for your company? I put here 5 major things, but again, you can have divisions, you can mix and match, conversational AI. And here conversational AI could be a chatbot, but it could be also voice. And voice, it's a must, I think. I think you need it now for your company. It's already everywhere. Second level, I call it the recommendation engines. That means AI that will scan the competition, scan the internet, and give you ideas and suggestion and question for what to do next in your company and your business. And of course, we know the limitation. It will not tell you exactly what to do. It will give you recommendation. You still need the human touch to decide that, right? But it's a very big and powerful tool. Cybersecurity AI, I think now you know, AI is very easy to have for everyone. We have evils in this world, right? So you need also to empower yourself with the countermeasures, depending on your company, of course. In our case, we deal with Microsoft. We subcontracted that. We said, okay, too difficult for us. Generative AI, that means generate content. And I call it, not automatically, I'm against making content from one to the end without a human in the loop. We need always a human in the loop. But still, the impressive amount of productivity, availability, customization, especially if you do higher level adoption of your AI, it will be impressive. You can always, and I can give you a concrete example. You can have, for example, an AI agent that scans the news, and depending on the news, telling to your client what opportunities with these news can be done, right? Of course, a human in the loop. Someone will approve. You don't do it automatically, otherwise you may get in trouble. AI can hallucinate. Supply chain optimization, I think it's the big thing. It's a big thing, really, to cut a lot of middle people using AI agent. So this is a small discussion that I use sometimes to give people awareness. And I will tell them, you know, the best AI tool is not Grok or OpenAI or DeepSeek. No, it's Amazon AI. And hey, exclusivity. It's not available. It's just manipulating us all to buy from Amazon. And they call it tricky name, the algorithm. They make you feel there's people in the room writing algorithm. No, no. There is an AI manipulating us. We don't have access to the data. And we always, like people in marketing who are involved with Amazon, try to reverse engineer it. And when we figure it out, they change it. That's it. The other company that's fooling us is Google, right? Who is not using Google Ads for their sales. And maybe you have seen how Google Ads become really like a drug dealer, right? It gives you a little bit so you are happy. And then when you are addicted, they raise the pricing, right? They don't show your stuff even if you pay them too much money. So do you think people are deciding that for individual people? No, no, it's AI. And we don't have access to us. They give us the stupid AI, BART and Gemini, and then they play, we are behind. No, they are not. They are not behind. They are maybe the most advanced AI company in the world, but they are keeping it for themselves, and they have a point, right? They are generating billion and billion of dollars out of it. So this is what we need. You need to be independent from these people. Have your own AI to grow. And let me tell you something about Theosim. So we are empowering companies with super intelligence. But of course, that's not only super intelligent AI. It's by combining both the human intelligence with AI to give a result. So we are on efficiency, quality, and innovation. All of that we can help in. We practically do integrated LLMs, fine-tuning, custom AI, on-premise if you want AI, with your own large language models. We have different platforms. So Trelexa is our entry level. That means you can subscribe for a small amount of money. It's for small companies. And then you can go higher. The robot there is the agent system. It's not for one agent. It's really to deploy hundreds of them. Of course, custom AI, jailbreak. Like if you want to go and send AI to promote something that OpenAI will tell you, you cannot talk about it. No, they can with our systems. Simprise, it's a more advanced platform for sales and marketing, again, custom. And Haya is really for big companies and government agencies. And I put it here for you to fit into the funnel we spoke about somehow. And of course, we have our own large language model, but I decided not to compete with the other people. It's impressive, in fact. We compare it with DeepSeek when DeepSeek came in, and DeepSeek was at 75 just for a comparison. Ours was at 76. We've been happy, yeah, we are better. And then OpenAI catch up. They got something at 80. Recently, Grok at 95. And Elon Musk give it for free. So I said, okay, let's give up and stay on the small business and big business customized things. And I have good news for you, and maybe you know it already. You heard the news, right? We have OpenAI spent around $1,200 million to get where they are right now. That means maybe more. I think maybe $12 billion, right? DeepSeek come and they spend barely 5 million and a half, and they reach the same point somehow. And you don't need to spend that anymore. And I heard people talking about genomics as well. So technology is weird, but things in AI is much faster, in fact. So like what you pay for today, 1 million, maybe in a year it will be 100,000. But why we need to act now? Why we don't wait? Okay, I will wait until it's cheap. Because you will lose all your clients. People are already using it. So people who will pay the 1 million today, they are not investing in AI only. It's a necessity. Otherwise, they will lose the regular business. So don't miss the AI boat. The best time to adopt AI, I have exclusivity for you guys, it was yesterday. Okay. But the second best time, it's now. You need to do it for your company. You need to have your own business case. And let me tell you, I heard a lot of good things in the one before. They made my life easier. Like we have this superpower we human. I hear people using AI to give them ideas. And let's talk about the AI out of the box, ChatGPT, right? And I used to tell my people, employee, whatever you ask ChatGPT, don't do it. Because everybody else will do it. It's not stupid, it's smart. But if you have an advice from someone who is giving it, I don't know, to 600 million users, it's not an advantage for you. Once you implement it, you'll be surprised how many other people did the same thing. So what's the solution? We have it, and people were talking about vision, your human touch, your internal power of intuition. So yes, you can use AI, and you should, to have ideas, but don't be satisfied with the first come. Make an interaction, challenge the AI. AI said it, that means it's good. No. Most of the time it's not. Immediately the first answer, no, is the wrong answer. Not because it's dumb, but because it's like not a secret. It's for everyone, right? So, act now. You know, I spoke with you about Larry Page, about Moderna. Today investment is the investment in AI. It's the investment of your lifetime. Very soon, we'll replace, I think, the word internet and computer by just AI. Okay, and it's getting better and better, by the way. Scary better, in fact. I don't know. We are using AI for programming, and just in 1 year, we went from, okay, it's dumb and generating bad code, to practically, why we need programmers again? It's enough to have an architect, and then they have army of robots. So. And it's an irony. You know why? Why we have that? Why that happens in the programming that fast? Because people who are building this stuff, the AI, they know their job. So the first thing they did is how I will improve AI, help me doing my job. So somehow their job will be the first one to be removed, maybe, right? Because they know their job. But now you know your stuff, you know your company, you know what to do, and AI isn't about short-term gain. I don't just, hey, put AI and I have increased 10, 20%. Not this anymore. It's about long-term survival. Like today, hey, I will invest 1 million, and in two years, maybe it will be 100,000. But maybe you will not have a company anymore at that time. So we need to act now before things are gone out of control. Okay, acting now is essential for organizations to enhance efficiency, increase revenue, and dominate the marketplace quickly. You need your own AI. So you need to become the chief opportunities officers. I like we discussed about the vision, so I'm not repeating all the vision discussions, right? You need to have a vision, an action, and prove your leadership. And the speech is done, and I'm going to ask you some questions maybe for you. And the first question that I would ask, how many of you here don't have AI integrated in their system already? You don't, or you have it? Okay, act now. At least ChatGPT, huh? At least that, right? With but you need to embed it in the company. And the easiest way, just write a set of rules, SOP, a methodology. And you know what? AI can help you do that. That's it. That's the minimum, right? That's acting now. Anyone here has fine-tuned AI for their business? Great. And how it's working for you? Game changer? Yeah, please. Good, good. Anyone has his own AI in the promise? Wow, here we have it. So what do you think? Are you the next Google or Amazon? Did you do me? Wow, okay. So what's the next step in your opinion after you have that? Great. So open for questions. Yes.
Ways we're using AI, we have a completely new website, and things that will be included in it. It's an AI, basically avatar, and it will be my face, my voice, and know everything about our business. It can answer questions 24/7, 365. In all languages, so as soon as it comes out, it'll speak Korean and Arabic. So I'm excited to see it. The technology is just extraordinary. It's a conversational AI piece, but it is in video. It is built into the website as a version or something. You can see it. They can speak with AI, and it's getting so good. You can tell it's not a person, but it's extremely conversational and extremely fluid. It's very impressive.
Yeah. The human in the loop concept is not, you cannot use it with ChatGPT and automation in the regular way. Yes. Yeah, you need to train it in your own methods. You need to identify yourself as a human using your intuition. What's the critical step that I want? And here you train your AI if there is any critical step. And always we have like a limitation. You need to decide where the human will intervene. So instead of doing an automation with only the tools, you add a tool called H, human, and you somehow program your system as a human here, right? And this human, the fun stuff, it doesn't need to be an employee. One thing that would be great if you develop an expert and you have your own network of experts, and that would be amazing, right? In our case, we do approval and verification and audit trial, three of them, three level of human in the loop. So audit trial, that means randomly always we have output that's sent to person to verify, right? This is the verification also. But do you verify? But that comes from your business. You need to put it in your fine-tuned AI. Why I'm saying it's not obvious with ChatGPT or out-of-the-box AI, because they have their own human in the loop and supervision. Less with Grok, but for example, OpenAI, if you ask about, give me a joke about women, it will not give you. But give me a joke about men, it will, right? It's easy. So that's a human in the loop as well. It is a concept. We are talking about cloning and video. And that's very intriguing and very impressive, right? But what if things goes wrong and people tell you, hey, you told me, I saw it in the video, right? They accuse you. So somehow you need to pre-approve what's going on, right? Yeah. Other questions? Good. So you can have the slide. I don't know if I did too fast. Yes? We should be afraid of AI. This is why I wrote my book, but for the wrong reasons. Some people are afraid in the meaning of Terminator, right? No, it will not get that smart. The real danger of AI is social, you know, because yeah, we have, I said in my book, the problem is not AI become human-like. The problem, we human, in the last 50 years, we are creating jobs for robots and we are acting like robots. We give people really SOPs, do it. Like I give all the time, is Uber a good job, driving an Uber? It will hurt your back, sitting in the car 9 hours or 10 hours sometimes. So if it's an autonomous car, that's good for humanity, right? But we still have a lot of people driving Uber, so there is social problems. In terms of business, you can rely on it too much and leads you to catastrophe, right? You need to have always a human in the loop. So yeah, we need to be afraid. And the last things I will tell you, I'm afraid of people giving AI too much power, and that will lead to big negligence, right? If you give AI in charge, for example, of your customer service at 100% with no human, and things goes out of control, if you have thousands of clients with one AI going, well, not till you rug, but hallucinating, it's the end of the company. So yeah, you need to be afraid, but we don't need to freak out. I'm very hopeful, and I think we'll figure it out. Yeah.
I think a better word than afraid maybe is cautious or just beware.
Yeah. Listen, fear is the mind killer, so we shouldn't be afraid. We need to be hopeful. My book is called The Singularity of Hope. And I call it that because it's not the hope in machine. It's the hope that what will happen, not the machine will outsmart us. What's happening right now, our collective intelligence is going very high. So we'll achieve the singularity because we'll become super intelligent to human using AI. Okay. Any other questions? So let's go adopt AI. The slides are available. We'll have a lot of resources for free as well on samman.com and on Theosin. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sam, for that enlightening session. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously said, change is the only constant in life. In today's business landscape, this couldn't be more true. Change is rapid and often unpredictable, posing significant challenges and opportunities for leaders across all industries. Today's panel discussion, Strategies for Adapting to Change and Leading Through Uncertainty, will explore the essential skills and mindset required to navigate these turbulent times effectively. Let's dive into the critical conversation with our esteemed moderator, Dr. Daniel P. Jackson, President and CEO of Jackson Advisory Management, and panelists who have turned changes into opportunity time and time again. Dr. Daniel P. Jackson, welcome.
Welcome. Good, good. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Dan Jackson. I am the founder and CEO of Jackson Advisory Management. We're based in Washington, D.C. Don't hold that against me. We're going through some interesting times in terms of uncertainty and anxiety and change in D.C. and of course, across the country. I want to take a couple of minutes here and just chat about my perspective on this topic. And then I'm going to turn it over to the panel members to introduce themselves and get their perspectives as well. This discussion is very relevant to me, and I'm actually writing a book on the topic called Being Acquired, Change Management, and Organizational Commitment in an M&A Environment. That's mergers and acquisitions. The book is based on my doctoral research and my dissertation, which I completed almost exactly a year ago. And what motivated me to undertake the doctoral research was 30 plus years in management consulting, and being part of 10, 13 or so M&As. And so I decided that I really wanted to take this terminal degree journey at this point during COVID, because there was some idle time, and I thought I'd put it to good use. I think, thinking back on it, I really, my adaptive strategies for how the change affected me was really based on a few things. And one of them was my role and my responsibilities in the corporation at the time. And then another was my relationships, interactions with leadership in the company. And then what I perceived to be real potential impacts on my personal life. So how I reacted to those changes that accompany the MA really depended on where I was in my life. So the research that I did was really an extension of my personal experiences. I wanted to see and hear what other practitioners, management consultants, how they reacted to M&As in their professional lives and their careers. And I wanted to understand how they perceived the changes and what they did about it. So there were really 4 primary leadership components that came out of the study. One of them was leadership actions and inactions, what leaders did and didn't do, what they said and what they didn't say. Another component was cultural changes. And culture means different things to different people. Organizational culture could be a workspace, or it could be benefits, or it could be life balance, work-life balance. The third thing was communications gaps and communication gaffes that leaders made. And the fourth thing was relationships, working relationships and reporting relationships. So one of the other things that came out was the use of change management frameworks. And that's just a strategy and some procedures for managing and implementing the change so that there's a smooth transition across the organization. I asked the participants in my study if a change management framework was used, and none of them could identify a change management framework. But 70% of them said that if one had been used, they thought it would have helped with all those distractions, the anxiety, the angst, the uncertainties of change. And so that's really important, because one of the key findings of my study was that 54% of these acquired management consultants, 54% resigned from the company within a year of the M&A announcement. And so if you think about the revenue that's associated with each person, in my particular business, it's about $250,000 per year. It's a lot of lost revenue. It's going to be a lot of time finding people, and costly to find people, and then to get them trained up. So with that, I'd like for the panelists to introduce themselves and give us their perspective on leading. Beth, you want to start?
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to be here, and it's kind of exciting to be in Vegas with everyone sharing some ideas. So I am an executive and leadership coach. I specialize in the human experience of leadership. And if you think of that for a minute, no matter what level you're on, you have a leader, or you have had a leader, and what was it like to be led by that person? What were those challenges? And I coach people in those situations, but also I coach senior leaders and C-suite employees, and they have the challenge of being led when they're, of leading when they're at the top. So what's that like for them? What are the challenges on that side of the equation? My background is in law and psychology, so I'm an attorney. I used to be a prosecutor, and I have a master's in psychology, and I did my work on family crisis, trauma, that sort of thing. And then I was a lobbyist in Massachusetts for a while. I only worked on the state level. And then I became an executive coach because it kind of pulled everything together. So in this few minutes, I want to give you 3 takeaways on what people can do, some practices, and some things to remember when you're facing disruption. The first, well, I'll tell you the 3. There's mindfulness, there's mattering, and self-awareness. First on mindfulness. It was mentioned in the other panel, the one, not the one right before us, but the first one. The idea of mindfulness is that you own your brain, you own your lungs, you own your heart, and there are 3 intelligences in our body. They have found the same neurons, the same type of neurons in your brain, in your heart, and in your gut. So when you say, I have this gut instinct, or you feel something, it's intelligence. It's not verbal, but you get more information they have measured going upward this way to our brains than going from our brains down. And that is a perception you get. It's kind of an energetic perception. So let's say you're in a situation and you're triggered. Your heart's beating really fast. You may not realize it, but your breathing is shallow. And that triggers your primitive brain to say there's danger. Your prefrontal cortex, where you reason, shuts down because you have to run, fight, flight, fright. And there's also another one called befriend. And that explains why some people in moments of fear and tension will identify with an aggressor and make friends with that person, follow that person, because they feel if you see me as an us, you won't hurt me. So these are all survival techniques that we all have mastered or we wouldn't be here. But we're human. And so when you feel triggered, the first thing you should do is notice it. Separate yourself from you've given one automobile to make it through this life. Separate yourself from your body. Say, ooh, I'm noticing I feel something. And breathe. Deeply, slowly. You have to breathe. So you may as well do it with intention. When you notice you don't feel comfortable, breathing deeply slows your heart rate. It also tells your brain it's safe. Now, it's safe from a saber-toothed tiger. It may not be safe for your reputation, things like that, but still, you will survive whatever it is that's bothering you. So mindfulness is the key to becoming centered, to becoming calm, to regaining curiosity and creativity. So that would be number 1 as a strategy. Number 2, there is research going on about mattering. Mattering is different from meaning. It's different from passion. It's different from purpose. One of my least favorite questions is, what's your purpose? I don't know. I'm just doing the best I can at what I do. But my purpose of life, I'd like to know, but I don't. So it doesn't, what this mattering does is it doesn't matter if you have a purpose. Not everyone has a purpose. But if you think about a baby being born, it will not survive if it doesn't matter to somebody. You have to matter, and that is somehow wired into us. How can you, as leaders, help the people in your organizations feel like they matter? You can't make their job mean anything to them. You can't make them passionate, but you can make them feel like they matter. And when they feel like they matter, happiness goes up, productivity goes up, resilience goes up, and they've measured it at about 35%, however they measure it. But if you think about mattering, and the way you do it, it's a lot of work for a leader, so you can take it slow. Mattering is literally knowing your employees and sort of creating a map. How many people in different silos do they speak with? They interact with that person in that department, and that person in that department. What is important about their role? And take the time as a leader to sit down with them and tell them that, but not at a performance review, because it's supposed to be judgment-free. You're simply telling them why they matter, and that goes a long way. So that's one way to help people deal with their anxiety. And then finally, another skill on self-awareness. Everything is an inside-outside job. Sorry to make you guys wait. Everything's an inside-outside job. A leader has to know what their leadership ecosystem is. What's going on in me? What's going on in the room? And what's happening in my relationships? You're always dealing in 3 dimensions. And so, for every crisis, every challenge, ask yourself these 4 questions. Should I lean in? You know what that is. Should I be active? Should I jump into the fray? Should I get involved? Should I lean back? What's going on here? Who's in the room? What's the best place for me? Should I ask that question? I think I'll watch a little bit. I'm going to take it in. But you see, you're intentionally changing your mindset. You're not just sitting at the table waiting. You're thinking, evaluating. That's leaning back. Leaning with is collaborating. It's working with others for that common goal. It's a little more nuanced than leaning in because you're doing it collectively. So you can decide to go in and cooperate, collaborate. And the final one, which is really key for busy professionals, or really anyone, and that is don't lean. It doesn't have to do with you. Your engagement might throw things off. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Is it really helpful? Does it have anything to do with what you're supposed to be doing? Don't lean. You can have compassion. You know, you can feel anything you want, but it's not always appropriate to be part of it. And so if you can remember those 4 stances, you can pretty much navigate any challenge, because what you're doing is you're giving yourself the gift of pause. You're changing your perception of time. Nothing is so important that you have to do it immediately, usually in our world. So that's self-awareness. Mindfulness, own your system, own your brain science. You know, manage your body, mattering. Help people understand why they're there, why they're important, and self-awareness. Those 4 stances should help you through change and uncertainty. Thank you.
Scott. Mike.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm Scott Maloney. I'm the senior partner and founder for Crane & Company. We're one of the fastest growing life sciences, medical health, animal science, strategy consulting firms in the country right now. We've been very, very lucky to see that growth continue so fast because we spend a lot of our time focusing on our particular areas of competency, which is a lot of M&A transactions. We do a lot of corporate development work, a lot of joint ventures, spinning out of new entities, things of that nature. But it's been an interesting ride because we have a very unusual take, I think, when it comes to those kind of hyper-dynamic, high-change environments that come with a lot of uncertainty. And we really eschew kind of the typical problem-solving idea around that if something's coming at you fast, you must respond in kind and keep moving quickly and things of that nature. And it really is just it's a bit of an unusual firm in that it was built on my background as I start thinking about how problem-solving works in its purest form. And that started all the way back at the beginning of my career as a research scientist. I have degrees in genetics and cellular biology, but I choose not to oversell that in any way because it's been 20 years since I put on a white lab coat. But it taught me how to ask the right questions, and asking the right questions and slowing down to understand the dynamics that impact that question has become something that I just carry forward with me. Since that time, I've been very fortunate as an entrepreneur. I've launched and sold 2 companies that were unicorns when we sold them. That was wonderful for creating kind of resources around what we wanted to do, but those are highly dynamic situations as well. And so when we founded Crane & Company, it was on the back of these big exits, and it was with the idea that companies with the right frameworks around how they deal with hyperdynamic situations like new partnerships, like new market growth areas, will have a competitive advantage in that. And over the last, 10, 12 years, that thesis has proved out. It's proved out pretty well and why we've grown so fast. So a lot of the ways that we then apply that to our environment, whether or not it's my family office and the investments we're making, or whether or not it's our clients and how we're helping them invest for the deals that they're trying to get done, is really to just exercise some level of restraint and control around slowing down into that problem-solving process. And my teams are very used to hearing me say this over and over and over, that when they're trying to deal with any particular problem, when they're trying to dissect anything, they're very smart and they run down the road, and I think that's great, but there's a virtue for slowing down, and slowing down long enough to really understand what's at play around that dynamic situation, and in doing so, then being able to ask the right questions. And in our world, asking the right questions for a good joint venture or a good M&A deal becomes far more meaningful than almost anything else. That triggers that point where we can expand value for everyone involved. That triggers that point where we can now start answering with better strategies going forward. So when we think about that hyper-dynamic environment, through multiple exits, through multiple other companies, through all of our clients, really the secret sauce that we've found when we start getting into these hyper-dynamic environments is just a willingness to sit there in the storm as best you can and really think about why there's a storm to begin with, and understand the dynamics that are coming at you and understand those strategies. We've had a lot of success moving that forward. I now have gotten to a point in my career where I sit on the board of a number of different companies, one of them publicly traded, a couple of universities, and all of them experience the same kind of knee-jerk human response to those rough environments full of change, full of dynamic change, and the change management that comes with that. And it is amazing to me how often when we pull ourselves out of that fray, we make much better decisions. So I have become somewhat accustomed to, and my teams have become somewhat accustomed to working with our clients, and despite all of their kicking and screaming when they get a term sheet and someone wants to buy them, or despite all of their worry that the next market opportunity is going to blink out of existence tomorrow morning, pulling them out of that and slowing down their world significantly to dissect what's happening has become a competitive advantage that at this point is virtually unassailable when we start talking about these deals. And that's panned out for us with our M&A record. And I'd heard earlier in some other sessions and things that 3/4 of M&A transactions fail, which is very true in terms of they don't deliver as much value as poured into them. One of the things I think that has contributed to our rapid growth and using frameworks, mental frameworks like this with our client base, is the fact that we don't see 75% of our M&A transactions delivering less value than they started with right now. And after a decade and more than I have fingers to count on, we've only had 10% slow down and really not deliver that value. But we also come at this very different than your traditional investment bankers. So I'm very excited about these kinds of dynamic situations because I think they give us a better chance to exercise tools that become the strategy and the underpinnings for what we're trying to get done.
That's great. Hi everyone, Luis Antonio Diaz from Blue Creative Digital Technologies. It's funny because I get to, at least now I had the opportunity to listen to everybody, and I started my career in crisis management at the government level. And if anybody's seen Scandal, well, not that dramatic, but dealing with the wheeling and dealing of government and wheeling and dealing of is there a deal that's going to go through, and there's always a deal to be had, right? And everybody said, you're always the calm one in the room. And I realized that calm is contagious. If you walk into the room and your head is all over, everybody's looking for the adult in the room or the biggest personality. And if that big personality is all over the map, well, guess what? That room is going to be total chaos. And I think that that's one of the coolest things that my background brought me now that I'm CEO of Blue Creative. I exited a company that was doing pandemic work in Canada and the US. We were doing robotics, machine learning, medical textiles. So things like, masks and gowns and whatnot. And the Canadian government, particularly, there was a very big need I don't know if anybody's familiar with Canada, but we don't have that much cotton up there. So manufacturing and raw resources was quite a challenge. Exited that world and entered Blue Creative, where it was a work-for-hire development agency. And we said, listen, what is coming down the pipeline? Well, the biggest earthquake right now is artificial intelligence. And that's when I said, listen, this uncertainty, not just for the market, but also for our employees, because our employees are like, are we going to lose our job? Is AI going to replace me? Is my graphic designer not going to have a job tomorrow because AI can do everything? And can I code now with AI? So what's going to happen with my developers? I had to walk in and create what I call micro levels of security. I can't give them the long-term perspective of what's going to happen. I mean, just today, we saw tariffs go up left, right, and center. So I can't. I don't have a crystal ball. But if any of you do, let me know. I'm willing to invest in a crystal ball. But what I can do is give micro levels of structure and certainty to my staff in order for them to be able to, for lack of a better word, play ball. And I think that at that level, that structured flexibility that comes in an uncertain time is what I think is probably the most applicable part of leadership. I think that that has seen our company turn from a traditional work-for-hire for government and private institutions to now being an award-winning company that's developed AI tools for the neurodiverse market. So we do a lot of work for the neurodiversity and disabled, so Section 508 and American Disability Act on the digital level, and also on the level of procurement management through automation. So we've recently launched our tool that automates using AI proposal creation for government contracts. So what are we doing when it comes to this type of roadmap? Well, I feel that, and please challenge me if you guys see it differently, but regardless of how much AI kicks in, I think that a good team is the core of every organization. You talked about your team and how they're running and when you want to slow them down. And I find that my team is the same way, where they all have great ideas, and it's a matter of sort of like guiding that blunt tool into being a very sharp scalpel to be able to enter the right products, right services, the right market. And when I look at what's coming down the pipeline in terms of technology and development, I want to make sure that my team is running on all 8 cylinders, and that I am that person that can sort of like tuck them at night so that they feel safe, comfortable, so that when they come in the next day, they're delivering MVP performances. So I think that change is constant. And if anybody tells you, oh no, it's time of change, listen, change happens every day. And I challenge most people to tell me that they have a day in, day out with nothing new happening in that day in, day out. Change is constant. And so what we have to do is change our mindset. And by changing our mindset, what I mean is embrace the opportunity of change. Rather than looking at it as a risk, look at it as an opportunity to develop and grow and fill in that gap with something that can improve your structure, your SOPs, your standard procedures, the opportunity to relate and connect with your staff, and or to embrace the challenge and level the playing field, which is what I believe we're doing. We're trying to level the playing field using AI for everyday companies, everyday organizations, because everybody will talk about the Googles of the world, but nobody will talk about the mom and pop shops and, Wall Street versus Main Street. That's where I think that we've found our niche. We found our growth pattern by investing in our team, investing in the fact that they need to feel safe during change. Because change is always going to be constant. Thank you.
Very good. Well, thanks. We got some different perspectives, but on leading during uncertain times, but there are still some some common denominators there. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is, how do you see different generations leading in your businesses? And are they different? Do you see them adapting to different leadership styles? Or are they pretty characteristically the same?
If I can, I do tend to work with quite a big gap of people that are 21 years old like me, and let's call it Gen Z and young millennials, because of the market and the industry that we work in. And I've noticed that there is this great need for certainty in the younger generations. The appetite for risk is very small. They don't want to risk. They're very scared. I have young staffers who will check in with me 5 times a day on their mental health status and not on, that risk chance that they could have taken. And they're in a research room, which is entirely about risk. So as much as I can embrace and try to, hold the hand throughout that journey, it is something that as a leader, we need to create those micro certainties, because if not, we're going to see a whole generation that is not willing to take a risk. And, America's built on risk takers. And, what we have today was not built through a master plan. It was built through challenges and risks and M&As and, successes and bankruptcies. And I think that's where I'm seeing the challenge, where, I want to call generation, I guess, X, I think it is, 40 plus, they thrived in a world of change. They grew up through parts of the Cold War, and, the world wasn't a status quo necessarily. So I think that is the biggest defining factor in the gap, is the propensity to risk take. That's where I see it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Being a representative of Gen X, I'll tell you, it is a little bit of a different mentality versus some of the younger professionals in our field. And we're in a pretty rough and tumble corner of the world doing a lot of the M&A stuff that we do. That's a lot of big banks and a lot of investors, and that can get some sharp elbows going. And what I've found is, as you get closer to my generation, and I've been done this for the 20 years or so that we've been doing this, I have no problem running headlong into a wall. I'm going to move it. It'll be fine. And because we make those opportunities happen, they're not sitting there waiting for us to discover them. We force the equation. And so there tends to be a little bit of that attitude along our senior leaders around this idea that the equation does need to be forced, because no two companies are going to magically on Tuesday morning have merged together and no one was paying attention. Somebody did that. Somebody forced that. And what I found as we then go down into the younger generation, there's definitely this need that we stay in very lockstep. There needs to be a tight strategy amongst that team at all levels. But one of the things I've found is, in addition to your point of that kind of, maybe not risk aversion, as it were, but there's also this tendency towards an invitation culture. They're waiting for the invitation. I am not suggesting that we should all just willy-nilly run off and do our own thing necessarily. We have to stay very unified as a team. But as we found younger and younger members of the team interacting with us, what I find is a massive increase in the number of times that they ask me, well, I didn't do that because no one asked me to, or I didn't join because I wasn't invited, or I didn't do this because no one suggested it was the next thing. As if sitting there quietly alone and just waiting for someone to bestow upon you an opportunity is how opportunities were made. And it is not. And so I get a little bit worried that that next generation is not going to look at the same wall I looked at and have the same response I had, which is I can run face first into that thing, knock it down, and make something out of it, versus they're going to say, well, I just stood in front of the wall because no one told me what to do next.
I agree.
Beth, what do you think?
Well, I shy away from generalizations, because we're all human. We are born to survive and thrive. And also, once you get to that basic stage, we are then charged with figuring out how each one of us can make an impact in the world that we find ourselves in. In some ways, we're like the family we came from, and in other ways, we are just totally not, because genetically, we're made of every single person that ever contributed to us being here today. So I like to look at the, at the organism, at the psychology of what is the same throughout history. And whether you're a boomer, which I am, and I'm proud of it. I'm not a late boomer, though. Or Gen X, these are human beings that want to feel like they matter and that they're part of a community. And they can be inspired to work too. They're afraid of certain things, but fear is universal. And as you're saying, how do you de-escalate that in a moment so that people feel like failure is an opportunity to learn, not to suffer and die and get fired? Failure for learning, and it is a mindset that you can cultivate.
Great, thank you. So folks, we've got a microphone, or just raise your hand, shout out a question. Sir, please.
Just without the mic. So I just want to make sure, ask a question because you're representative for Gen X and Millennial, right? Early boomer as well.
Not necessarily on purpose. I think this just happened.
Well, it doesn't matter, but we have three generations, right there on the stage. So
I was joking about being a Gen Z, by the way.
It's okay.
But if you believe it, I'll take it.
But no, because you're working with the younger generation
Correct.
of people, right? So I want to say that because they said that they don't think that they're not any more risk takers as, for example, compared to the older generations, right? Would you see that potentially that today we have too many regulations, restrictions being occupied by, will it be in a trouble with the government, with some type of regulations that I go over? Because when you said running through the wall, yeah, I've done that too, right? Because the only fear I had was not the government, it was my dad. So what, because I have to report to him if I do something. So we had that kind of, I would say, liberty to explore and take those risks more, I would say, daily than today's younger generation. So what's take on that?
Yeah, I think certainly for me, I'll speak for myself, as I got older, I became more aware of those regulations. I don't know that they changed my perspective on what we can or can't get done necessarily. I don't worry so much about those regulations and impacting the kinds of deals we can do as much as I do those that look at regulations as immutable. And when we look at any level of rules that we have defined, whether they're for the betterment of us as a community or simply there because they've always been there, I think those are opportunities for a lot of folks to look at that and say, is this the thing we should reinforce? Is it right? Is it just? Is it the good rules that we want to think about, the good regulations that help us out, and we need to reinforce that and build businesses to do that? Or are they the ones that should change and should change as societies change? And I think the different generations, because you started your question with that, have a tendency to view that a little bit differently. And I mean, I don't know, psychology is not my space, but maybe it comes back to some of those early pieces we come from where, I'm the father of a couple of little ones, and I noticed that I have to work very, very hard not to overparent them because it's in my nature to do that, versus I'm Gen X. I mean, I was raised on hose water and neglect. So I'm real comfortable with the idea that someone's going to leave me alone and I'm going to figure that shit out. And I think that's just a kind of attitude adjustment that we're looking for it to kind of be pervasive across all generations, and it's not going to be. And so I don't know that the younger generations are going to struggle more or less with that in particular, so much as they're going to have a different take on it. They're not going to look at that saying, that our metaphor that we've now beaten into the ground of running into the wall, they're not going to look at that as the opportunity I do, but they may look at that as a building block to something else that I don't see.
It's funny. It's funny, both sides of the conversation here, because I've actually experienced specifically what you're talking about. So I have the blessings that I've been a graduate level professor at McGill University up in Canada. Been about 9 years now, and I teach graduate students, and I see it there, and then I see it at our company with our younger employees, where I say something like, "This is probably the best roadmap," and I'll get the challenge like, "But who set up this roadmap? Who certified this roadmap? what organization did you contact that ensures that what we're doing is accurate? And I said, no, I made the roadmap because we're at a position at our company to be trailblazers in our industry. We're not coming at the tail end of this technology. So we have to create our own roadmap. We have to create our own path. And the face of the 404 error, the blue screen of death, and they're like, what? But nobody's certified? But I'm sure I can go on Google and find a certification. And I'm like, yes, you can probably go and find a bogus certification from somebody who set up a website, wants you to pay them $1,000 and be like, hey, you're now certified to do this. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's proper, appropriate, or effective. And I find that that is the challenge that I've encountered, where we may have, at some point, overstructured things, to your point, where now I see it more and more, that pushback. And I'll see it. I'll see things like, for example, the other day somebody came to my office and said, hey, did you know that we don't have a WordPress certification? I'm like, well, we've been building, WordPress websites for 20 years at this point. It predates me from joining the company. It's like, but maybe we should get a certification from WordPress. And they're like, does WordPress provide the certification? No, WordPress is an open source software. So who's offering the certification? Oh, this random organization who set up a website and said, we're going to certify you to be a WordPress developer. And I'm like, why would we need to pay them? It makes absolutely no sense. And I think that is a true challenge, and that's where I talk about that flexible leadership and flexible stability, where we need to give that sense of microsecurity so that our teams can play ball with us, I guess.
I think for me it's sort of similar but different. In the research that I conducted, I interviewed a bunch of people. They were men and women. They were boomers. They were Xers or whatever. They had 25 years experience to 2 years experience, senior leaders, shareholders, whatever, a good mix. But it's where that person is in their life, that creates the uncertainty and creates the impetus for them to do something or not to do something. And so you kind of never really know what's going on in someone's life, but I think that plays a big role in it as well.
I agree.
Yes, sir.
Quick question for the panel. Great discussion so far. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the role that success plays in our ability to adapt to uncertainty and change. I think as leaders in early stage businesses, when we have nothing to lose, risk is a hell of a lot easier. What happens on the other side of success when we have a tendency to get a bit more complacent? We want to play it safe. We're looking for predictability and comfort. So I'd love to hear the group talk about how success plays a factor in uncertainty and navigating change.
I can take that to start.
You can start,
I'll take the general approach. So Marshall Goldsmith is one of the Uber coaches in the world, and he has a book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And that's really what you're talking about. It's a different experience, different mindset, different requirements getting there to success. So now you're there. It should be, for a while anyway, a judgment-free zone. You made it. I mean, do you know how to, not you, does a company or a leader or a person know how to sit in it and acknowledge, notice that they actually achieved a goal? How has it changed you? So if you're where you want to be, awesome. Then maintain it. Don't feel that you have to grow, right? You have to change, that it's not enough. And I think we get into that autopilot, particularly, on a higher level of work, where it's got to be more, as opposed to expanding your capacity where you are. So that's the horizontal, expand your capacity to get better at what it is you're doing, versus something else, something more. If from that new place you find that it makes sense to do more, then create a new goal and go for success. But I think it's the reflexive judgment of never having enough in a sort of a scarcity mentality that stops people from celebrating their success and letting it change them so they can see what the next step is.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is baked into personality as well,
100%.
because
Yeah.
I think I find that I eschew the norm of, and I take your question at face value of as we get our companies much larger as we have, we start to look at risk a little bit differently. When I say I eschew kind of that normal pattern for me, after having exited a couple of big companies and finding myself in a place in the world where I had the resources to do whatever I wanted, I noticed my risk tolerance went way up, actually. And it was partially because I was starting to build a core competency within myself. And I don't think it was the, more necessarily. I just like building things. Building things is fun. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And so what I found in myself was now this core competency around feeling comfortable with that risk. No longer was it risk in a new form and fashion that I had to learn about and had to find a way to make part of my life. Now it was familiar to me. It was a friend. It was part of what we were doing. The risk was always there, and it's meant to be there, and I knew how to handle it, and I knew how to deal with it, so I could allow it to be bigger. I could allow it to nurture me into much bigger and riskier scenarios. And even though I probably should spend, and I'm sure my wife would like me to spend a little bit more time thinking about dialing back the risk in some of our ventures that we take, the reality is that it's like any other skill set. You get much better at modeling in Excel when you do it a lot. You get much better at figuring out a marketing campaign when you do it a lot. It turns out you get much better at managing risky ventures when you do it a lot. And so that risk, I think my tolerance went way up for that risk, and so did my behavior around some of these endeavors, but so too did the success rate and the consistency with which we were finding value in those endeavors, because it became like anything else you get familiar with by doing.
I have a couple of friends that during wine and cheeses, I was born in Montreal, so the French side, so wine and cheese, would ask me, when is it enough, Luis? You work, they call me 7-Eleven, you're always on, and you're always taking messages, and you're always checking your email, and you're always working with your team. When is it enough? When do you get to that point where you said, I've made it? And to your point about attitude, I think that the character of the leaders is what defines the culture of the organization. So I'll give a small example. When I rejoined Blue Creative, there was a tendency to feel that they had made it. They were comfortable in their revenue. They were comfortable in the operations and their clients, and they were becoming the best small, medium, let's call it, web application development agency in the Northeast. And when I stepped in, I said, no, this isn't enough. And there had to be a cultural change. It was painful. I'm not going to lie. It was very painful. Some people stayed. A lot of people left. But that gap was an opportunity for other people with the same dynamic and the same mentality to come in and say, hey, I've been stuck where I am. I'm joining a new team where they see risk as something appealing. They have an appetite for it. I can now take the opportunity that I probably couldn't take out of the company that I was before. And so what I did, one of the first things that I did, and it's one of the worst things that I've ever had to do, was walk into a company and look at attrition, firings, and letting go of certain people. But it's because we needed to build a culture that would prepare us to meet this coming massive change. And be able to build a team that, like you said, could break down the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. I couldn't do it with the team that I had at that time. And then by bringing in the people with that mindset, and I want to watch my words because it's not the right people, because everybody's the right person. It's the appropriate team for the appropriate mission is what I'm going for. Our mission was to not stay in the Northeast. Our mission was to become North America-wide, to become an award-winning agency, to develop technology that is impactful, that impacts everyday employees and lifts them up to meet the challenge of the AI revolution. That's where we came in. And that was not going to happen with the people who had that feeling that, hey, you know what? I want to go in at 9 and we're done at 3 or 4 and happy hour starts at 4 o'clock. And that was not the mentality that I went in with. And who knows, maybe one day I'll have that mentality. But at that point, then I may not be the leader for the company I'm currently in. I may be the leader for another company that is at a different stage. And this is why companies are living beings. And we're just there for the journey.
That's true. I think they are living organisms, and they're the leadership really can guide the organism to as big or as small as it wants to be. I think that there's the difference between the entrepreneurial mindset for risk and risk tolerance, and then there are the others that are just employees that want to move up in an organization. And a lot of times I've seen folks that they work really, really hard to get to a certain level, and then they become risk averse because they don't want to make a mistake. And I think a lot of times that is a mistake to not make a one.
Yeah, but I'd like to pull that back a little bit too. I mean, the idea around that is it's a mistake, but from a certain point of view, from their standpoint, if everyone was as risk tolerant as I was, and as everyone was trying this, it would be fucking insufferable. I mean, it just really would. Yeah. And because I don't pretend that my way is the right way; it's just right for me. And
exactly.
So I try to be really comfortable with my teams that when I have an individual that's found a niche that they just revel in and they're incredibly talented at it, and that's where they want to be, that's a win. That's a win. It's no different in any way, shape, or form than I found my niche. Mine just looks different than theirs.
Some other questions?
This is for you. I like what you said about teams, and I hear what you're saying about risk tolerance and aversion based on generations. I totally get that. I see it with Gen Z, I see it with millennials, I see it with boomers, I see it with Gen X. And I wanted to hear from you what you thought about how to make it safe, how to make safe spaces for your team to fail. Because you're not going to put something into production, or you're not going to pull the trigger on making it final until you've tried something out.
True.
And, I want to get your thoughts on how to build a team's confidence in creating safe spaces where they can fail fast, and then find something that really works, gets their confidence up, and then work in production.
Thank you for that question, because that's a very unique question. When I joined the team at Blue, one of the biggest mindset changes I had to do with the team was sit down and ask my team, okay, this was, let's call it our sprint. What went wrong? And everybody tiptoed around what went wrong to tell me what went right. And I said, and I would essentially cut them off. I'd be like, no, I don't want to hear it. I want to know what happened, what went wrong. And I had to implement reporting protocols so that I could find out what went wrong. And I would get a blank page from the majority of people. And I find that this is rooted in school, where we're looking at, how many wrong questions that you get in a test, and that's a bad thing, a big red mark. Versus what I wanted to know was, what were the learning opportunities out of these mistakes? And I had to really coach my team to tell them, hey guys, until we deliver the final product, everything that we're doing here is research and development. I need to know what went wrong. And your job is more in danger if you don't give me what went wrong than what went right. Because out of 10 opportunities, 1 went right, 9 went wrong. I need to know what those 9 were, so I can build a process. I can build a protocol around it. I can make it a teachable moment, but not a teachable moment to the team as, it's me as a leader that has to learn. Because then I have to adapt the roadmap that I am building for whatever tool, whatever application, particularly in AI. And so I think that it was a mindset shift that I had to do with a lot of the staff and celebrate their failures for them to understand, hey, you know what, he's not out to, dock us points and get us fired if, we're failing. If anything, there's value to it. And the reality is, from a financial point of view as well, if you're a development company in technology and you're in research and development, you're getting credits for all your failures anyways. But that's something that people don't understand. And so what we're trying to achieve is that level of comfort where we report the failures without impacting the performance and the drive for success of the team. So think of it almost as counting how many misses in a basketball game versus how many, free throws. Because now you know what the gap is. But what you want to do is you want to look at the gain versus the gap. And I think that I read a book called It's Not the Gap, It's the Gain. And that put it into perspective. And I think that where shifting that mindset on certain team members, and I'm going to be honest, this was way easier sell on the younger generations than it was on the older generations for some reason. The older generations it was a pride thing. It was a no, I'm really good at what I do, and I said I'm sure you are, and that's why you're part of this team. But I just need to know what went wrong, and that I think was the challenge. It was slow. I don't think I have a science for it yet, but I think that by inculcating that safe space of saying, hey, what went wrong, how can we build it? It's an open forum, and I am definitely not the smartest person in this room, so I need you all to tell me what your opinion is, what's happening, so that we can adapt our roadmap, was a start. And I think that I'll end it by saying a lot of my staff had that sort of aversion to tell me, and I said, guys, if I am the smartest person in this room, everybody's getting fired because I'm in the wrong room. And that really changed everybody's mentality real fast. Thank you for your question.
Sure, yeah. So first of all, let's just go in a minute, your 30-second summary, about leading and adapting to change.
There's so many different topics that have come up. Life and success is about the law of subtraction. That's why failing is so important. When you get a menu, you know what you don't want. And then you break it down like, okay, here are these 5, maybe 3 things that I might want. Do I want cauliflower? Do I want sweet potato? So it's the low-hanging fruit to get rid of in failure, and you're searching for the way to success. And from where I'm coming from, the way to do that is to manage your equipment, manage your vehicle, learn how to de-escalate, open up your brilliance that's in your prefrontal cortex, listen, pay attention to the information that your body is giving you, and restore intention. Just restore intention, pace. You're already successful. The people you work with are already successful. It's not an accident they're there. And your goal is to make sure they understand that they have that skill and to calm down so that it can be expressed. Mindfulness, mattering, and self-awareness. Lean in, lean back, lean with, don't lean. That's my summary.
Yeah, one of the words that we didn't actually use very much given this topic is resilience, in terms of how we think about ourselves and how we respond to that environment. And I'm a little surprised because it's usually a pretty key component of this kind of hyper dynamic change, and how do you live through things that are difficult to work on. And I think it's worthy of bringing up because those are the kinds of skill sets that really differentiate long duration professionals from those that have to move over and over and over again to keep finding where they need to be. And and I think about my firm in particular, we do some very risky stuff, always very good stuff, but it's high venture bets, it's lots of acquisitions and stuff like that. It's pretty risky. So two things are true on my team, both of which are necessary for our ability to survive. And that is, on my team, you'll become rich. And on my team, at some point, metaphorically, you're going to get punched in the face. And until you can deal with both of those things calmly and with a smile, then there's going to be a hard room for you to walk into every day.
That's quite the words that I love that, because I wish I could tell that to my team. We're still at that hockey stick stage, but I think that my parting words is those micro certainties that we can build for our team is what balances successful teams from the unsuccessful teams, because we want to be able to decentralize decision making. That's how I see it. I want to be able to give certain decision making powers to my team so that they can act, not react. And I think that when we're acting, we're controlling the situation. When we're reacting, we're just responding to what's been laid in front of us. And nobody responds well, but everybody acts extremely well, particularly if you have the right people on the table, in the room, etc. I find that all starts with, with strong leadership, strong characters, but also that foresight that, today is not the end of the world. You live another day, right? That's it.
So thank you all for being here. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for the questions. Please join me in a round of applause for the panelists.
Thank you to all the panelists for a profound exploration of leadership in uncertain times. As we approach our lunch break, thank you, we have the privilege of celebrating exceptional achievements within our community. Our recognition session acknowledges those whose pioneering efforts and inventive spirit have not only led to personal success, but have also raised the standards for all of us in the industry. But before that, we'd also like to pause for a moment to show our deep appreciation for our sponsors. Your dedication and support are crucial in transforming these ideas into an impactful reality. As a token of gratitude, we're thrilled to honor you with certificates recognizing your invaluable contributions. I'm delighted to welcome Barry Warrington, CEO of Energy Lounger LLC, to do the honors. Welcome, Barry. Okay. So we will start with the gold sponsor, Rochelle Rutherford, CEO, Kids on the Move. Will you come to the stage? Are you here? Rochelle Rutherford? She's in the other room. Okay. Okay. We'll make sure she gets it later. I'll make a note. Next one, Bob Nienaber, CEO and founder of Benefit RFP? Other room too? Okay. Heather Stokes, CEO and founder, Serenity Light Recovery LLC. No? Okay. Next is the bronze sponsors, Dr. Sam Samani. We heard him speak earlier. He may have left the room also. And Alan L. Krishna, President, Team Up Corp. Incorporated. No? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. We'll continue with our other awards. Well, thank you, sponsors, anyway. We extend our profound gratitude to our gold and bronze sponsors for their invaluable support. Now, let's move on to the spotlight of our incredible trailblazers driving change and innovation. So, Barry, you'll be doing the honors again. Yes, tough. Okay. Ali Husnain,
Ali Husnain Shah, Director of IT, please join us on stage. And Digital Transformation at AI Ramazat is a seasoned leader in information technology and digital transformation with over 19 years of experience. He leads the development and execution of the company's digital strategy, ensuring the seamless integration of advanced technologies to boost efficiency. Thank you. And if you'd like to say a couple words when you come up here, you're welcome to do so as well. Do you have any words? No? You can come up and, yeah, if you'd like to.
Thank you all. It's an honor to be here and to receive this prestigious award. And most likely, I'm also present here. So, and it's I'm looking forward for the future projects and with this encouragement and the endless boundaries we have. And I wish you all the very best with your projects and existing projects and current projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Charles R. Daniel. Is Charles here? Yay, okay. Very good. Charles R. Daniel is a seasoned financier and managing partner at Daniel Russell and Charles Company. Welcome. Specializing in elevating CEOs, CFOs, and entrepreneurs to new levels of financial success. With an understanding of estate planning, business insurance, and investment strategies, he has evaluated estates with taxation up to $500 million.
This is a very unique and well-organized event. I've enjoyed my participation, even though it's been a short period of time. This is my first year coming here. But I think the creativity and innovation is really good. And thank you again.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next, we have Daniel P. Jackson. There you are again. Dr. Daniel P. Jackson, President and CEO of Jackson Advisory Management, has a degree in geology and master's degree in environmental science and engineering, and doctorate in business administration, with organizational leadership specialization. A former technical expert, leading projects, programs, and people, Dan now guides executives in strategic growth and initiatives, organizational development, leadership mentoring, and operational effectiveness. Would you like to say anything?
Just want to say thank you very much. Career has been rewarding so far, and I went on to get my doctorate to open the last chapter of contribution to the business world, and I look forward to spending time speaking with many of you as the conference goes on. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next, we have Mark Snyderman. Mark Snyderman, founder and CEO of Next Point Ventures, is a business lawyer, disruptive entrepreneur, and a published author and content creator. Congratulations. He provides practical and strategic business and legal solutions to small and medium-sized businesses and invests and supports and helps businesses grow.
I never pass up the microphone. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm here all for the next 3 days. Look forward to meeting you all. Speak about business things, anything you want to talk about. I have a very varied background, so I like to talk about a lot of different topics. So look forward to meeting you and chatting.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next is Mario Pajai. I don't have a bio for you. I apologize. I can make one up. Welcome to the stage. Congratulations.
thank you, I guess. I'll be on stage a little later today.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Next is Patrick Lang. Patrick Lang, founder of CEO and Certainty Management. Leads a nationwide team of efficiency experts dedicated to maximizing client profitability. He is also the co-founder of the JV technology firm Certainty Global and owner of Certainty Holdings, a U.S. Army veteran with over 40 years in sales and management.
So any entrepreneur will tell you that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Maybe our significant other understands better than anyone the costs and the sacrifices and the all-nighters and everything else. So once in a while, it's nice to be reminded that what you're doing is working and be recognized and even maybe hear thanks. What's most, I think, gratifying, though, is when you see your work making a difference. I think everybody would agree. And thank you. It's nice to be here. Look forward to meeting many of you.
Congratulations. Next is Patty Zapparoli. Is Patty here? Hello. She has an MBA and is the owner and driving force behind For Life Business Management Services, DBA My Ops Box. With a passion for creating smooth and innovative business operations, she leads the team in providing virtual assistant services and fractional COO solutions. She designed My Ops Box to help businesses streamline their operations.
Thank you very much. Being in operations is pretty much a thankless job. So this is very nice to be acknowledged for all the work that the operations professionals do out there. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Sam Galgoon. Sam Galgoon is a visionary leader and advocate for music-driven social change. With over 25 years in the Colorado music scene, Sam founded World Music Development, where he merges his love for music and community to inspire global impact. As the mayor of Alma, Colorado, Sam's leadership has driven substantial local economic growth. Congratulations.
Thank you for the recognition, Ronner. I really appreciate it. Like many have said, sometimes the work that we do is very thankless, especially when it's in government. So thank you again. I really appreciate this.
Congratulations. Next we have Shermalyn Sidoni John. Shermalyn, is Shermalyn here? Oh, there we go. She is globally recognized chief brand strategist and executive mentor, trusted by C-suite leaders to amplify their influence and impact. With over 15 years shaping Fortune 500 brands, she has led high-stakes brand transformations, navigated 3 mergers, and helped executives and corporations position themselves as industry authorities. Congratulations.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shimelin, and I come from a tiny but mighty island called 238 square mile island called St. Lucia. And I'm really honored to be here. Why? To be an inspiration and let other women know, or any other leader, no matter what part of the world you're from, you can truly make an impact. Understand what your unique strength is and use it to help others shorten their success curve. So this award is for me, yes, but I represent so many other amazing women who felt unseen at some point in their career. And also, thank you to all the amazing men who continue to support us.
Thank you, Shermalyn. Next we have Stephen Cummings. We have Stephen Cummings here, yes. He's a leading advisor and managing partner and CEO of Resolve Partners Incorporated, working with private business owners to drive value and implement transformational strategies positioning businesses for exit on optimal terms. He has a successful track record to private equity and venture capital industry and is qualified CPA and in Ontario, Canada. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Just to say thank you very much for this award to the sponsors and the organisers of the event. Great event. Of course, these awards come with a great amount of help from a lot of other people, so recognise my team as well, and thank you very much.
Next we have Viva Shala. Viva Shala, Chief Growth Partner at Focal Point Business Coaching and Business Owner, brings decades of experience across industries such as life sciences, healthcare, law, manufacturing, technology, and consulting. She has worked with 50 billion enterprises and small businesses, making a meaningful impact. As a Focal Point business coach, Viva helps organizations achieve clarity, effectiveness, marketing, and strategy, improve sales performance, leadership, and operational efficiency. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much for this award. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed actually being here and also conducting the panel discussion. I think this is, as much as it's learning experience for you, it's also learning experience for me. Anybody wants to get in touch with me, I would love to connect, talk more about vision and also growing business. Thank you.
Next we have Virginie Delettre. Ginny is a leading expert in UX marketing with over 12 years experience in the web, design and mobile app industries. As the founder and CEO of VDS Digital Agency and the UX Marketing Institute, she specializes in creating user-centric marketing strategies driven by extensive research, innovative thinking, and a deep understanding of marketing and technical.
Hi everyone. Yeah, thank you so much. I think she said everything I had to say about what I do. I'm really glad to be here. I will be talking in 2 panels and I'm hoping to meet more people as the days goes. I hope you enjoy the day. I already have a very good conference about AI and stuff, so a lot of good talk here. And yeah, I will be talking about marketing, but also especially marketing related to user experience and the user journey, because I think when a lot of people think about marketing, they think about advertising and how we push people to buy, but I believe marketing is actually a journey about discovering a product and sharing your experience for people to actually become your customers. So, thank you so much and have a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last award we have is for William Lee. William Lee, is he here? Bill Lee? No? Okay. Okay, we will move on, and a heartfelt congratulations to all the award recipients today. Your remarkable achievements continue to push boundaries of excellence and innovation in our industry. We are all inspired by your contributions and look forward to seeing how your ongoing efforts will shape the future. Also, big thanks to Barry Warrington for doing the honors. Now let's take a well-earned pause to enjoy lunch. This is our opportunity to engage deeply with fellow attendees and exchange ideas and expand your professional network. Think of this as an appetizer to our conference feast. Mix, mingle, and connect. And don't miss out on the dessert spread, as it's tempting and satisfying as the insights we've explored this morning. So while you're at it, make sure to visit the 2.0 conferences booth next to the registration desk and take a sneak peek at our exciting 2025 and 26 lineup. And secure your spot early to join us again for the unparalleled leaning and networking. Jatine Sidhu, our representative, is there to assist you. And please make sure you're back here or wherever you need to be by 1:30 sharp. Thank you.